Hi friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rain Boots. In a Facebook group, someone asked how to make dashed lines for patches, outlines, or styles, just an addition. Now we're going to create a rectangle by hitting R on our keyboard. Whenever you're making something, especially for patches, engraving, cutting, scoring, you want to round off those corners just slightly, and that's all I've done here using the rectangle radius tool. I'm going to change these into something a little easier to see, so I'm going to choose engrave and then duplicate this a couple times so we can make the shapes up here. So I'm going to start with the line, which means I click on the item, come to applications, and then choose the first one called grid array. Now we don't need 2 rows, so let's go ahead and drop that back down to 1. The 2 things you can use here to really get started playing with this are the spacing and the number of columns. That's pretty much it. You're creating a series of vectors, whatever you've chosen in your grid array. Let's hit done. Now this is a series of vectors. You can see it's all grouped together up here at the top right. So if we want to resize it to a rectangle size or something, just know it will change the size of these pieces. And I'm going to show you that in the circle array. So we're going to start by clicking on the item, applications, circular array. And when we select this, it looks a little confusing in the beginning, but all you have to do is just play with it. I'm going to increase the number of items down here because it will look a little different in the end. So I'm just going to double that for this purpose. I'm going to come up here and you can start with the X and Y axis. In the beginning, choose 2 numbers and then see what happens. See? So we have stated that we want this size, but if we adjust it, look at the difference in the sizes of these rectangles. So this is a true vector, which means you kind of want to get this right when you're doing your array in order to avoid resizing. Now for the pentagon, I'm going to go ahead and just make this a little bigger so you can see. Because we don't have the ability to create this on a path, what we're going to do is just kind of wing it. So I'm just going to make this a score so you can see it a little bit easier. I'm going to click on the item, go to applications, and then I'm going to go to that first one again, the grid array. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing as we did before, playing with the sizing, playing with the number of columns, and reducing the rows to 1. Now reminder, this is a vector and it's just a group of whatever you have chosen, so you can easily manipulate it just like we do with everything else. So you can match your angle, you can put it in place, but it's too long, but I really like the size. Guess what? You can come in here, you can ungroup it, and you can work exactly as you do with everything else. We're just going to hit ungroup. Oops, let me select this. That's more difficult than I thought. Hit ungroup up here, and then if this one over here, we're just going to delete it. And then you just copy and paste after you group all that back together all the way around. So this is the easiest way to make the patch outline. For those of you who have existing patches and want to add sort of faux stitching or even holes for stitching, you can take a picture, pop it into the editing menu right here in xTool Studio. You don't need anything else, and you can just copy that shape and build to it. Okay, so let's do that right now. I'm just going to import a license-free, or I paid for this, but you see if we have this shape, this is an image, so I don't want all this extra stuff. I'm going to go into the free tools right inside of xTool Studio and just crop this image. Now I need to size this image, so if it's just like 3.8 in the actual patch, I can come into my measurement tool, and that's a little big, so that's a little small, so let's make it a little bigger. And there you go. That's the size patch that I have. So I'm going to build this. We are going to build it using exactly what you have done already in this tutorial. So what I'm going to do is create a rectangle. I'm going to round out the corners. I'm going to make it a little smaller and engrave it. Okay, now you can see you have to adjust after those rectangles. You have to adjust your corner radius. So in order to build this, I would actually just turn this guy 90 degrees first. So let's go -90 so I can build this one straight path pretty easily using the system. So I click on the item, click on the grid array, remove the row, and then actually the spacing is good, so I'm just going to go ahead and add columns. hit done, and there's the top and the bottom. So we just copy paste. I'm gonna move it over to the right a bit so that I can highlight both and align to the top. So highlight both, come up to the alignment menu and hit left. Now we can select everything and turn it 90 degrees so we can work on the other portions. Again, Command or Control A will select everything, or you can just highlight and hit 90. So for these bottom pieces, super easy. We copy and paste this straight line. All we have to do is get our angle correct and we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit so I can try and match this. Again, you wouldn't be matching the patch stitching, you would be matching the angle. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this image so you can see it. We ungrouped all this. Let's see. We've got 4 that we're deleting. Just highlight delete after you lock the image. And you can manipulate each of these individually for the better corner, highlight everything, group it back together, copy, paste it, and flip it horizontally. And now you have the other side. Let's just go put that in place. So once you learn xTool Studio, you can do things like this, highlight both, align to bottom. Now the left-hand side looks a little wrong, and that is because it doesn't match the right. So let me move this over, and we're good. All right, so now the circle. So you already know how to do this. This is the only frustrating one. I forgot to get one of these little squares to copy and paste, so I'm just gonna go ahead, duplicate this, ungroup it, remove all of this, and then turn this one 90 degrees, or back to 0 basically, so that I can have a copy. Always copy and paste or make a duplicate of that when you're doing this. So to match this circle, we already know what we need to do, right? We need to go, or match this arc, we need to make our circle. Again, you don't need to make a full circle. I'll show you in there, but we're going to go ahead, highlight the item, click circular array. Now, the spacing for you is going to be important. I'm not really making this, so I'm just going to manipulate this. We are going to manipulate the X and Y, but I just want to show you, if you just want to make a half circle, you just do the end point. You see that? And if you increase the copies, you decrease the spacing, no matter if that's 180, 360, 380, it doesn't matter. Like, you can make whatever you want just using these manipulated little slider things. So let's go ahead and start looking at sizing. So you can see I'm going to increase this. Now, one tip, go ahead and take a screenshot of this because this will disappear. So I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot. I'm going to bring it in, just copy and paste it like it's an image and move it off. Like after I hit done, these measurements go away. So if you don't want to start from 0, this is just a tip. Now you can see if we line this up here, it's a little too short. And we know that if we manipulate it, the stitching will be off. So we paste our piece in. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a different color so you can see. And we would do our exact thing again. We know our starting point for our grid array because it's over here in this picture. So now I'm just going to duplicate what I did before, make it a little more wide, and then there you go. So I no longer need this picture. I can delete that unless you want to take a new picture or whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and lock this one so I can delete my little blue one without issue. Now we can manipulate the big purple one. Again, you would do this a little better. It's not exactly correctly spaced, but we ungroup, we delete what we want. And you may say, but what about anything that overlaps? So this one I would delete because again, if we got our spacing right, that would be fine. But you can vector edit this. So let me zoom in. This one here, let's say you do want a little space, go to edit, because it's a vector, highlight the nodes you want, and just manipulate this manually. Hit done, and then you've locked it in. Now you can just group or unite all of this together. I would actually unite it, and you're ready. Okay, so that's it for me today. If you have questions on that, let me know down below. Please like the video and subscribe for more.